with some gratitude. Get started. Who wants to start off with some gratitude? Share some great news.
My profit share tree just joined in today for the first time, so got 2 people in on there.
Awesome. Oh, that's
man.
awesome. Good job, man.
Awesome job, dude. Awesome job. That's great, man. Good news. Anyone else? You got some other great news to share?
Putting a new listing
just gratitude.
Right in about
gratitude.
John's putting a new listing in, I heard.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
The MLS, and I just want to say, gratitude. Eddie, thank you so much for your insight the last, actually in all these training classes that we've been having. 31 years of experience. There's a lot that you can teach us. So you're awesome. Thank you, brother.
You can learn from anybody and everybody. So you guys are great. You guys are very committed. I love it.
I was going to say the same. Having all of you guys on the calls when I'm teaching, being on the calls when you're teaching, getting a lot from you guys. We're getting a lot from each other. Alan and Bree always contributing. So great group. Love the energy, and energy makes us better trainers.
Yeah.
Love it.
100%.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I'm definitely grateful for everyone in this group. John, Michael, Alan, participation, Eddie. I'm actually grateful to be teaching this because at first I'm thinking, man, last time I took Ignite or anything like this, oh my God, I think this was like 6-7 years ago. So, but now looking at this, the elementals, and looking at Ignite 2.0 and how it's changed up since the last time I took it, I think this is awesome, man. I feel blessed to be a part of this and to be able to just contribute. And I'm grateful that I got our Briselda, who keeps jumping onto prospecting school as well too. So she's been making some calls and getting some progress. So that's awesome. All right. Anyone else? Briselda, Michelle, Liz, who said that? Just Dalia Torrelas. Torrellas. Is it Torrellas or Torrelas? I think it's Torrellas, right?
Talia Torrellas.
Torrellas. So share some gratitude with us, Talia. What are you grateful for, Talia?
I'm grateful for beautiful weather here in Miami, Florida. And that I'm healthy and that we're going to go through this COVID-19 craziness.
That's it. That's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome, man, to be able to step outside and not walk into 25-degree weather, which is or 35 or 40-degree weather versus the 95-degree weather that we walk out to in the morning. So yeah, there's a lot to be grateful for. We got Karina Luna on the line. Karina, what are you grateful for, young lady?
I'm grateful for my family and just their health and how everybody's hanging in there.
That's awesome. Awesome. Let me see, Agent.O. I don't know who Agent.O is. Briselda.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Buenos días.
Buenos días, ¿cómo están?
Okay. What are you grateful for?
For one thing, just to be able to open up my eyes today and to, live another day. I'm very grateful for you guys, for always feeling the support and always learning, continually learning, and just feel just the support, which is a good thing. Right now, I just got off with an agent who has sent an email about learning or about the PPP and stuff. So I kind of like text her, hey, how do you go about that? And she just called me like, oh, look, I'm going to send you the video, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. That support, that's phenomenal.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm very grateful for that and for each and every one of you.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Marisol. Marisol, what are you grateful for, Marisol? taking a moment to share some gratitude this morning.
Grateful because I am taking the time, I having the time to learn. I've been using this time to really practice the calls and taking all seminars and doing things that I really wanted to do and I didn't have the time before. So now I'm having the time to do it. So I'm grateful for that and spending time with my family. So
Awesome. No, that's great news. It's awesome to share. And let's kind of switch gears because we're jumping into we got a few more people coming on. Wow, Lance Randall's on the line as well too. Oh man.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Lance. Look at this to have you on there, man. Dude, I feel humbled, man. Look at this, all the way from Aventura.
Are you kidding me?
Did Eddie like persuade you, twist your arm to jump on today? Is that what it was?
Not at all. You're my idol, brother.
Yeah. So share one piece of gratitude with us, and then we're going to jump into what wins did we have this week. We'll shift into that after that.
I'm sorry. I got to mute the call. I've got a tenant calling. I'm sorry.
All right, go for it. So who wants to get started with share some wins? I know John DiMartino, you shared that you had a win yesterday. Alan, you shared that you had a win as well too with regards to your friends jumping on board and building your profit sharing tree. Who else has a win that they want to share in terms of their business and what they've done?
Well, I guess.
Okay, I see Briselda smiling, man. That's a win to me, man. That is a win, boy. Okay, Michael, you got to stop and look at her smile. Does she got like a smile, man, that just like pulls you in?
Oh no, I met with her when she joined, and her energy, like, if you're getting this over this call, over this Zoom, when you're with her, her energy is just powerful, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Thank you, guys. Well, I guess my win is to feel more confident, that I've been feeling a lot more confident with my calls. So so I added 3 more leads into my database, and I think that's, you know, like, that's a huge step, you know, so I'm excited. I'm definitely considering hugely that whole linguistic thing, you know, because that's you know, this is new, so I'm like, whoa, like a kid in a candy store, like, what, this and that, you know, so I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, hey, listen, super happy to have you on board, and I'm really encouraged that you are pushing through whatever fears you might have, and you're persevering in there, because that's the name of this game. So anyone else share some wins? Carol Eubanks just jumped on. Keisha just jumped on board as well too. Dina talked. All right, share some wins, guys. What are some wins in your business from this week? I'm really encouraged that you are pushing through whatever fears you might have, and you're I heard that a little bit, but it was like an echo. I'm sorry. Keisha just jumped on board as well too. Dina talked. Right. There's some wins, guys. What are some wins in your business from this week? I'm really encouraged that you are pushing through whatever fears you might have. Are you guys hearing that?
Yeah, I think it was feedback from you before, or something from someone.
Someone's playing a recording of you.
Yeah, there's another Rob Carbucci out there.
in the other multiverse.
Identity.
Flashpoint. If you got to see
right.
the whole Flashpoint paradox, there you go.
There you go.
That was my geek moment.
I love it. All right, let's anyone else share a win for this week. Let's get one more person in there.
Well, I have one more win. I just want to introduce Sherelle. She just joined in. She is a nurse as well, and decided I want to do this real estate thing. I'm going to jump in now. So she just joined the pro coaching program yesterday, and she's
Congratulations.
Congrats,
Yes.
girl. This is
Welcome,
Isha.
Sherelle.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Sherelle. Welcome.
Hi, thanks.
I,
All right,
I just
awesome.
wanted to add, I did my care calls this week, and moving beyond fear, and not just fear, but making the communication, and it was filling. It was enjoyable. It was just an easy connect with even people that I haven't spoken to in about 10 years.
That's great. That's great. And here's where, for all of us, celebrating these small wins, you know, it's huge. You can't take those things for granted. You know, when you pick up the phone, you call somebody, have a conversation, and you're getting out of yourself, that's a win. You can't take that for granted. As small as it may seem, when you get up out of bed and you go ahead and you make your bed in the morning, and you start doing your morning routine, guess what, guys? That's a win for you. Because, oftentimes these small little steps, people tend to just throw them to the side during challenging circumstances. And if you guys are up this morning, you're all showered up, you're all dressed and ready to rock and roll, man, these are my first responders that are here this morning. Congratulations to all you guys, because right now the need is huge for our community. It's huge for the people that are out there. I'm still hearing people need to sell, want to buy. And we're the ones that have been given this task to do this. We've been blessed to do this. And we have the knowledge, we have the great coaches that are in this room, and the great colleagues, great companies. So yeah, lots to be grateful for. But let's go ahead and jump into things. So today we're going to be talking about buyer representation. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you shortly. And I'll share with you guys one of the first things that I learned years ago when working with buyers, and this was a tricky question at first, so I'll always pose it to you guys because I think it's anytime we're going to be working with buyers, it's important to understand this. When you think of a buyer, is a buyer a have to or a want to? Let's distinguish the both before we move on to the rest of this. Are they have tos or are they want tos? Share with me. What's your opinion?
It depends on the
have
buyer.
to buy or want to buy. Okay. It depends on the buyer.
Like a first-time home buyer might have to, but a move-up buyer might just want to.
Okay. All right. So first-time home buyer might have to, where a move-up buyer might want to. Okay, great. Let's hear some other feedback. Is a buyer a have to or a want to?
Was your question from the buyer's perspective or from a realtor perspective in terms of business?
Well, let's think about it. I mean, yeah, as a realtor's perspective, looking at a buyer, do buyers have to buy or do buyers want to buy? Do they fall into the have to or want to category?
I guess it's a day-by-day situation. Like, for instance, what if the buyer needs to sell his home because he wants to buy or needs to buy a home because he's selling it? It depends how you're looking at it.
Right? There's a lot of depends in there.
Yeah, I guess it's a individual situation.
Finding out their motivation.
All right, but okay, finding out their motivation, but let's just answer the question.
How motivated are they?
Right, how motivated are they? But let's just answer the simple question. Are they in the have to column or are they in the want to column?
I say
have to or want to?
I say they want to. Certainly situation dictates, and you could say, well, depending on do they have a job and they have to sell, they have to buy somewhere else. But ultimately, buyers want to, because they could choose to rent. They could choose to wait. They don't have to buy.
What do you guys think about that answer, folks?
Pretty accurate.
Yeah. Speak to that.
I agree with that statement.
Yeah. Right.
I agree.
I mean, let's think about it. At the end of the day, do I have to go buy a house, right?
No.
Rob, I
I
think
could always just walk outside and rent.
they can be both. It
Mhm.
just depends on us to interrogate to find out what they are. They want to or they have to.
Right. And this is where merging the conversations together is important. So they buyers do fall in a want to category, because at the end of the day, if their credit gets damaged or anything else happens, they lose a job, whatever the case might be, they could always rent. They could. However, it's our job as agents to determine where the two come together. It's our job to be able to ask the right questions and to connect with the buyer and determine why or what's important, right? Because the difference between asking why versus what's important are two different answers that you're going to get. So what's important about buying a home today? What's important about buying a home now versus why do you want to buy a house? You know, which is more of a narrow conversation. And once you determine that, what's important, now you can determine the level of motivation. You can determine how you're going to proceed in working with this buyer. And the things that we're going to talk about today is buyer agency. We're going to talk about working with buyers. We're going to talk about, you know, what's the best way to work with a buyer. I'm going to share the screen here, the Ignite screen. You get a chance to see this. And let me see here. So we're going to talk about what's the best way to lead generate for buyers and sellers. And also, you know, making a buyer presentation that's effective, where you're going to get as much motivation out of it. And what's the best way to preview real estate? Because with buyers, many people, they might say, I don't want to work with buyers, right? I just want to work with them. However, if you sell a house to a buyer, do you guys get paid a commission? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. If you work with a seller, you get paid a commission as well too. So the difference is, it's how are you working with the buyer to make sure that the buyers stay loyal and close to you so that they start the transaction with you and then they finish the transaction with you. So first things first, when it comes to a buyer consultation, it's about setting up an appointment. The beauty of what's happening today, folks, is that right now, this is an appointment. How cool is this? Right? Oh, so you're interested in seeing 123 Main Street. Okay, great. Hey, listen, before we go out and look at that property or talk more about that property, do you have a minute for us to just sit down in the next hour or so to go through a few questions that the seller might be interested in before you go ahead and look at this home? We could do a Zoom call and you can do a buyer consultation right here, you know, which is a beautiful thing. And with the fact that we can share a checklist on the screen and they can look at the checklist and we can go through the checklist together with them at the same time, man, I don't know if I ever want to meet with a buyer face to face again. I think I just do this. Right? Yeah, I'll just do this. I mean, I know Bruce is laughing because Bruce knows what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, let's think about it. So let's look at this right here. If you guys have your buyer your participant guide, look at page number 5, right? In your participant guide, page number 5.
I'm sorry, Robert. I'm actually going to put that participant guide into the chat box.
Oh, look at that! I'll tell you, man. I love doing things with DiMartino, man.
Always on top of it.
Dude, I thought I was like a geek myself, but man, dude, you just topped it off.
You just called me a geek just now.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being a geek.
Today, geek is a compliment.
Oh my God.
Yes, it's a compliment.
Yeah, that's
I'll
right,
take
man.
it.
It's a compliment these days, brother.
Yeah.
There you go. So when you look at this this model here, and John is the nerds, right? He's sharing this lead generation model. So let's look at this lead generation model. What are the things that you see when you look at this funnel? What's coming out to you? What ahas are you picking up from this funnel right here?
It starts with the most important fact, prospecting.
Starts with the most important fact, which is prospecting.
Which is the biggest part of the funnel.
And why do you think that is, Eddie, out of curiosity, for all of us to hear?
Because if you have nothing in your pipeline, there's no business for tomorrow. Not everything can be achieved today. You have to protect your tomorrow.
You got to protect your tomorrow.
I like that.
I love the way he says that.
Protect your tomorrow. That's a good one. I like it too.
Yeah, think about it.
I heard something John DiMartino said yesterday. He said he only had one house listed, and another agent told him, like, hey, if you sell this house, you're out of business. So you got to fill that pipeline. And I love that. That was a great example.
I agree.
100%. Yeah, folks, it's about filling up the pipeline. And I know if you're like me, or if you have a little bit of an
Make sure you
inkling-
show your work, Mike. I want to see the equation.
Mike, you got an equation going on?
I'm so sorry. I thought I was on mute. Sorry, guys.
Oh, man, I thought she was putting Michael Trelongo on blast. I'm
No,
like,
that's my
wow,
son.
dude, she just put you on blast, Michael. She just said, listen, dude, all right, I see that what you're doing is so important. Why don't you
Oh, my goodness. Sorry,
No,
guys.
it turns out that was homeschooling. So yeah, and that's awesome. Multitasking.
Multitasking. All right. So we're focusing on the business for tomorrow, right? So when you think about it, prospecting, if you're anything like most of us, you know, as soon as we get that paycheck, as soon as we get that first closing, we're ready to like go on that vacation, right? I mean, I know it looks different today, but we forget that it's a daily activity, because what we're doing is we are feeding, right, this pipeline right here. We're feeding the captured, you know? And when you're feeding the pipeline, notice how it has two items there, right? Prospecting and marketing, right? Do you just see prospecting in there alone? No, right? It's a combination of prospecting and marketing. And when you think about the tools that we have now at Keller Williams, what are some of the tools that we have right now that help facilitate prospecting and marketing in your business? Share with me.
Command.
Yeah.
Command. All right.
The landing.
And
the landing.
The landing page, you were saying?
Yes. Yes.
Keller
Okay.
Williams listing service.
What? For what? Facebook.
Facebook.
Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And what about for prospecting?
Referral network.
The agent referral network.
Oh, wow. I didn't get that, unfortunately.
Okay. You might have to mute some folks out, John. So the agent referral network, right? And then also, this mouse is going out of control here with this sharing. And we have those tools within KW Command. And then prospecting, you have the lead generating in the morning, right? Or you have the role playing in the morning with John Beats. And then we have prospecting school in the afternoon so that you can get better at lead generating and practice that. But also everything that we're doing within Command and throwing your opportunities in there, that helps you to build your business. And then notice, once you do that, you capture the leads. Where do the leads go into? And what tools are you using for your contacts? Share with me there when it comes to what tools we have.
Command.
Right?
Kelly.
Command. Kelly.
And use Kelly.
Yeah.
Man.
There you go. So now you start off with the lead generation, right? So this is the priority. Now you're building your database. And your database contains all your leads and all your contacts. If you reach out to somebody and you give them a call and you're asking them the question, hey, listen, you know, I noticed that your home came up on the computer as an expired listing. I was wondering, when do you plan on selling, you know, hiring the right agent or interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home, right? So you're going through your scripts. And now as you go through the script, the person is just, listen, I don't want to sell right now. I'm just going to keep it off the market. Things have changed. I'm not relocating to the other place the job fell through, whatever the reason is. What would you do with those guys? Would you just like chuck it, get rid of the lead, delete the lead, or delete the conversation? What would you do with that?
No, we'll put them in the care plan, like maybe reach them again in another month or 2 months and see if their ideas has changed or if they're motivated again. You know, we'll keep contact. We got to nurture them. Those are the 6 months down the line, you know, to keep it going.
That's right.
Touch base every 3 months.
Yeah, you're touching base with them, right? I mean, you think about it, what tools do you have right now that you can use to stay in contact with that person? Because, hey, look, here's the things that we know. Number one, they're a homeowner. Number two, at one point they wanted to sell. Number three, right? They wanted to sell, but now you have the correct information. You have the correct mailing address. And once you get that email address, there's an opportunity right there. So now you grab those leads, you put them into your database, they go into the contacts, right? They may not be somebody that's going to be buying right now, but they could be buying or selling in the next, you know, 3 to 6 months. So that's building your database. So there aren't any bad leads, right? It's just they're not ready to purchase or sell right now. However, if we use the tools, then we'll be able to stay in touch with them and track their activities as well through the mobile app. So notice that all these things are coming together within command so that you can stay connected. And then let's look at the sales pipeline portion of this funnel towards the bottom. What are you seeing in the bottom half of this funnel? Sales pipeline.
The first thing is where contact comes out, it becomes an appointment.
Awesome. Awesome.
If you're nurturing them, it turns into an appointment.
Bingo. And I love that, right? So what's the one thing that Eddie just said that was important, the one key word?
Don't chase them. It won't turn into an appointment.
Nurture.
Nurture.
Nurture. Right. Nurturing. And when you think of the word nurturing, and I know I'm getting like really granular here, folks, but I want us to here's my goal, is for us to associate what we're doing with everyday things that we do, right? When you think about nurturing, if you have children, what does nurturing look like? Does it look like something that you do once a month?
No, daily.
No, taking care of them.
Taking care of them, right?
Yeah, daily.
Caring. It's a caring.
It's a caring. I mean, could you imagine if your partner, significant other, you were trying to nurture the relationship and you spoke to them once every 2 to 3 months? Would you say that would be a healthy relationship?
No.
No, right? So the nurturing process, this is what supports and cements that you are the resource for them, which in turn leads for an appointment. And then after that, they become active. Then the possibility of them going under contract. And then from there, they close. And notice what happens after the close. Where does the arrow point?
Back to the contacts.
Back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Back to the
beginning.
Continual
thing. Continual.
So Rob, the first time you call me, I would not even know your full name. The second time you call me, the third time you call me. And by the time you reach the 6th or 7th time is when I say, oh, I start recognizing your voice. Oh, it's Rob. So that's how human mind is. Human mind is, unless you don't call frequently, they forget you.
That's right. That's right.
When I call someone in my database and they answer the telephone, hey, John, how are you? You know, that means
That
they
feels
have,
good. That feels good.
that means they have my number saved in their phone, and that is awesome. That's when you know. That's when you know it's a win.
Yep.
Yeah. That's two of those.
That's right. That's right. I love that. And here's where I want us to start going with our mindset is, imagine if every day we just did our activities and lead generated, and if there's a day where we didn't set an appointment from outbound lead generation, that we actually set an appointment because people are now calling us. Can you imagine a day what that would look like? I mean, I know DiMartino goes through that. I know Trelongo goes through that. I mean, I know Eddie, you've seen that. Lance, have you seen that yet, Lance, in your business? Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
God bless.
And my dog was barking in the background. What was that question?
Have you seen it now in your business where people are calling you with regards to real estate needs?
Yes.
How cool is that, bro? Share with us.
Well, I got a phone call the other day where they wanted me to, they just recently bought, and they wanted me to speak to their about doing a free evaluation. And I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world. I was really happy that they thought about me this quickly.
Great.
That's awesome. So who could use more of that? Raise your hands. Just show by hands. Who could use more calls like that?
Woo.
That's right. And how do you think we're going to get to that point? How, if we want to build that up, what steps do you think we need to take to get to that point?
Well, let it be known out there that you are in the business of real estate. Build a rapport. Get in touch with your inner, like continually to stay in touch with your inner sphere, family. Just reaching out, because eventually someone is gonna say, "I'm looking to buy a home." Oh, I know somebody, and then they'll give them your number, and you'll get a call.
There you go.
I love John Dietz's description of this. It's like depositing money into an ATM or trying to take money out of an ATM. You can't take anything out until you put a bunch of stuff in there. You got to make those deposits.
Yep.
That's right.
They only come out after you put it in.
Amen to that. And I know you guys are probably thinking, wow, he's spending a lot of time on this. And one of the reasons why I say this is because this is the first time in history, think about it, where so many people are at home right now at the same time. And we have like massively high speed internet connection, and we're able to do this, what we're doing right now, with anybody and everywhere around the world. If I were you, and I'm going to do this myself, this model, I'm just going to paste it as my desktop to always remind me that this is how my business stays functioning. This is what it is. It's a daily practice. It's a daily habit. And eventually you will see, if you do this on a daily basis, that you'll be able to reap the rewards from it. So I just wanted to drive that one point home, because I think that this is where it starts, the lead generation model. And this is where oftentimes we shy away from it in our business. So moving on, if you look in your elementals book, right, on page 14, there's a script within there with regards to role modeling and setting up the appointment. And the purpose of a buyer consultation, folks, it's for you to discover what's going on with their business. It's for not their business, what's going on with their motivation. It's for you to discover, you know, what is it that they want? How soon do they want it? What's important about getting it? You know, on page 18 as well too, there's another scripts in the elementals book. I mean, in the participant guide of elementals. Going through that will help you. Let me pull up the file, because you said you pulled up the file there, John.
Yep.
All right, let's open it up so we can look at it together. If you guys have it here, I got it right here in front of me. So if you look at page 14 in your book, this right here is something that we could all use, how buying a home works. So I'm going to share this with you. So this way you can look at it on the screen. And if in case you guys don't have it, let's take a look at it. Can you see it now?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So when you look at this, right, this is the example of the buyer presentation. Notice how it says how buying a home works. We have to explain to people the process. We can't assume that people know what the process is. Let me zoom in here a little bit on my end so I could at least read it myself. So notice, so Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, right? The reason that we're getting together is I want to be able to know what the biggest needs are for you and your family, okay? You know, so now the goal is, right, to get to know what the inventory levels and to be able to share that with them. We're going to look at what the market, what's going on in the market right now. Obviously, you've partnered with me as an agent, and as an agent, I have access to the marketplace. I'll be able to review with you market averages, complete a needs assessment so that we can see exactly what's going to work with you and your family and what's going to be the best fit for you and your family. So notice that I'm reading this, but I'm reading this in a presentation style because folks, this is how you show your value, right? All your value propositions are right here. So Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, one of the first things we've got to do is we got to make sure that you're pre-approved for a loan unless you're buying all cash. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah, great. Okay, so, you know, because we want to know what you can afford. All I'm doing is reading right here. We want to know what you can afford. I want to be able to determine what your monthly payment is, you know, and there's something in real estate that it's a lending term, you know, a financial term, which is understanding your debt ratio, right? Your debt to income ratio. So if you got $100, right? People love visuals. So if you can, at any point in time, have a yellow notepad or have a whiteboard, and you want to draw things out for people. So this is $100, right? So if your debt is right here, and the amount of money that you have left over is this much, this is your debt. Would you say that's a good ratio for you? Right? No, exactly. So a bank needs to know, hey, look, how much can you really afford? You know, and then based on that, right, they'll be able to tell you what you can purchase based on your debt. Then you're going to prepare for escrow. So what's escrow? And you get to explain to them that's money that gets put into a separate account. And then you're going to obtain a pre-approval letter, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And that's something that the lender is going to help you with. From there, the next step is finding your new home. And part of that process is comparing your home, you know, comparing homes in the neighborhood, the averages, narrow down the neighborhoods. You know, we're going to look at the favorite homes. And the cool thing is with our mobile app, right, is that you can create a collection within your mobile app. And what a collection is think about it this way. It's like a photo album, right? You know, that your photo album, you like certain pictures that are your favorite pictures in your photo album. And guess what? Your partner or your spouse, they may like pictures that are great for them. And when you're buying a home, you know, let me ask you, are your parents involved in the decision-making by any chance? Do you have someone else that's involved in the decision-making? Ah, okay. So your mom or your dad, they're going to help you with the down payment, right? That's a possibility. I've heard that many times. Great. So the cool thing is with our app, we get to put everyone onto the same app. And when you like a property, they can comment on it. And when they like something, you can comment on it and you can see what each other is liking so that at the end, we can come in the middle and find the best property for you and your family. How cool is that? What do you think? Right? And us as agents, we get to see all that happening in the background. Go ahead, Eddie.
No, I was going to say, I didn't even know the app does that.
Yeah. yeah.
Because I haven't worked with buyers 15 years back.
I know how you feel, brother.
This is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. How cool is that? And then now they can save it into a collections. And you know what? We can nix the homes that you don't like. And then from there, we're going to schedule home tours, decide on your dream home. guys, use this language. You know what I mean? Read this ahead of time before you have the buyer consultation so you know what you're going to say. And I'm telling you, we got the scripts right here. And after that, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, we're going to negotiate your offer, negotiate the terms. You know, and here's the cool thing, and I'm going to talk to you about this a little bit later on. In the state of Florida, and actually in the United States, this is my buyer agency script. The law allows us to work as real estate agents in two capacities. Okay, can I tell you what those two capacities are? Let's role play.
Sure.
Somebody. All right, sure. So I could either work for you or I could work against you. Which one would you like?
That's a good one.
I like that.
I like that too.
Right?
For you or against you.
It's either one or the other. So, you know what, Briselda, I could work for you or against you. So you want me to work for you or against you? Which one? You tell me.
I would prefer that you work for me.
Bingo. You know what?
Yes.
I want to work for you too. And here's the cool thing. We have this thing called buyer agency, right? And what buyer agency does is that it's basically disclosing to the sellers and the listing agent what my relationship is with you, right? And since, you know what, Briselda, you are my mother's niece, right? So we're family, right? So this happens with family, guys. Think about it. You know, this is the best way for us to work because it allows me to freely share with you information that otherwise I could not share. Because typically an agent works on behalf of the seller to help them get the most amount of money. But when you hire to work with me, right, as a buyer's agent, my goal is to help you get the best offer accepted on the home. So I'm there batting for you guys, you know, and that's the beauty of it. And here's one other great thing. The other great thing is that not only do I get to do that, is that about 98% of the homes on the market right now, the seller is actually willing to pay my commission. So not only does the seller pay my commission, so I still get paid, but I get to represent you at a very high level. And the other beauty of it is that other 2% of homes that are out there, let's say, for example, for sale by owner is out there on the market that you see. The moment you spot one of those guys, give me a call and I'll reach out to them and I'll vet the property for you. Vetting, you know, like scan the property, research the property. I'll research the property for you to determine if that's the best fit for you. And then we'll set up an appointment. But it's important that you call me first, okay? And then from there, I can represent you and I can negotiate my compensation with the for sale by owner. So I can represent you in so many ways. And I'll give you one last tip, right? Here's a stack of my business cards. This is about 20 business cards. I know what happens on the weekends, right? You and your husband, Briselda, you guys get into the car, right? You break out your hot cocoa if it's a little chilly. I'm thinking about New York, by the way. You break out your hot cocoa and you guys are going through that romantic stroll in the neighborhood and then you just get lost. You know, I know that you like this area, but then you're like, hey, you know what? Let's go out to that area. Wonder how that is. And then you start exploring and then a realtor all of a sudden puts up a sign up for this open house, you know, and it's got the great landscaping and you guys are like, let's just check it out. And you walk into that open house. Here's the beauty of it. When you show them my card, that gives you exclusive representation to be able to walk in there with confidence, give them my card, right? And they're supposed to ask you this question. Are you guys working with an agent? But oftentimes they forget to ask you that question. So you've got to step up and you've got to say to them, here's my agent's card and look at the open house. And if that's something that you like,
Did he freeze?
oh, I don't know. I was talking to you, Briselda.
Yeah, you,
oh, can you,
you're back.
Oh, I froze?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I froze.
1 second.
Man, I was on a roll. So
and I was like,
that's the
yeah.
conversation that,
Say again all after if that's
okay,
something
great.
that you like.
Right? Or give me a call after if that's something that you like, right? Who said that? That was Carol? Okay.
Yes, you froze that. If that's something that you like, and then it froze. So I was just saying, say again all after that point.
Oh, okay. So if it's something that you like, just give me a call. right? And I'll be able to set up all the details after that. And this is important. So this is how you set yourself up with buyer agency, right? Because it protects you, it protects the buyer. And then the last thing I would sum it up with the buyer in that conversation of buyer agency, I would just say, here's the other good thing about it, is that the main thing for you is making sure that my commission is protected. So that means if there is a property that you like and that you see, and that property has a 2% commission, then making sure that you protect my commission means I get paid 3%. So that 1%, we just tag it on top of the price, or I'll negotiate it with the seller. So this way it's part of the sales price. And as long as you support me with that and make sure that I get my 3%, that's your only responsibility, then we're good to go. So what do you think?
All right.
You're hired.
You're hired, right. Yes.
Perfect. So all you got to do is sign the contract so I can help you get what you want in the time that you want. Won't that be great?
Yeah.
You gotta smile.
Hey,
right?
Rob, you know, one of the things I really like how you used it's the pain versus pleasure script again. You know, when you said, you know, I can either work for you or work against you. I love that. You know,
that is good,
because you're showing them what the future pain could be, and that future pain is I can work against you. All right. Usually when I'm presenting it, I usually say, look, in Florida, most people work in transaction. It's assumed that you're working in transactional brokerage, where I prefer to work in single agency. Single agency is I'm working for you in your best interest, whereas transaction broker, the agents that work in transaction broker don't really care about you at all, and they don't care about the other party. They just want to get two signatures on a piece of paper. And if you were going to court, would you want to hire the other party's attorney to represent you? Of course not. And it's the same thing. So it's going to that future pain, right? For them to turn around and say, yeah, signing at a single agency exclusive buyer broker agreement just makes sense. You know, it just makes sense. I loved your example also. You either work for you or work against you. Which one do you want?
Either way is fine. Any questions? I love that. Thanks, John. Any questions or feedback around what I just shared with you guys before we move on?
No, very convincing. Beautiful.
It's good stuff.
Hey, give some
well, Mike, one of my questions, and it's funny that we're talking about it today because I was thinking about that like all week, like how, like I know we were focusing on listings, but I wanted to know, like, how do you find buyers, or how do you attract buyers? I know that you go out there and you promote yourself, but is there a place like maybe like buyers are looking? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Can I answer that?
Go for it, bro.
Briselda, look for the cheapest home and the best home on the market right now, and call any neighborhood with the sole purpose of attracting any buyer and every buyer to that house. I have this great house on the market, very well priced. It's going to sell very fast. Would you happen to know anybody looking to buy in this neighborhood?
Dude, I love it. Eddie, you complete us, Eddie.
Oh my God. Thank you for the compliment.
Guys, I'm telling you, you're getting all the nuggets, man. You're getting all the nuggets. Invite your friends. They're missing out. They're missing out. So let's keep it going. So making an offer. So then from there, we're going to make an offer. We're going to negotiate the terms. And now that you've chosen to work with me and we're a team, you know, I can help you with negotiating the purchase price. I can help you with choosing a title company that's going to save you a boatload of money. I can help you negotiate insurance options. I can help you prepare for the down payment and choose a target closing date. I can even help you with signing the offer and coach you through the process. I can help you even if we got to deliver an escrow check. I mean, I could even stay and close, you know, close contact with your agent, with the other agent. I mean, listen, I'm so glad that we're working together. Because of that, you've just given me the permission to do all these things here. And again, if you deliver it that way, man, who wouldn't want to hire you? Who wouldn't want to work with you as a buyer's agent? I mean, come on, they'd be nuts. They'd be smoking crack or something, or I don't know if you smoke crack, but anyways, yeah, you know, this you know, so that's what it would be. So now let's look at Keller Mortgage, right? You know, you can show them that on the app, here's where you can start the pre-approval. So whether you're working with Keller Mortgage or Supreme Lending or Van Dyke, whatever it is, whatever floats your boat, I always like to give people at least 3 options, right? So that this way I can never be put up against the corner saying that I'm steering anybody towards a direction of who to use, okay? However, the beauty of it is when you're working with Keller Williams, you know, they can apply directly and digitally, simplify and expedite the process. They have the 0+ loan, which is a Keller Mortgage exclusive. It eliminates signing and lender fees, shave off up to $1,000 at third-party costs, enjoy super low interest rates. So this is where you get to show your value. And the cool thing is that with Zoom, you can share your screen with the person that you're working with, right? When you go into share, it gives you the option to choose an iPad or an iPhone, and it shows you the instructions on how to share it. So you can also share with them the app and even text them the link right through the chat so that they can go ahead and download it onto their phone. So there's a lot of things you can do with everything that's going on now. So this is just to kind of give you an idea. This is a snapshot of how you can make this work for you when you're doing your buyer presentation. Was that helpful, guys?
Very.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. I love it. So let's move on. So now, you know, preparing the buyer presentation. Okay. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity to do this yet, jump into Command. So within Command, you can create a buyer presentation. You can also create a listing presentation, okay, by using designs. The one thing that you'll notice with this, and I learned about it, is you want to make sure that you have at least your headshot, your professional headshot together. You know, you want to make sure you have your bio together because it gives you an option to put in a bio. The cool thing is with the design is once you get into designs, it gives you the buyer presentation cover page, and it has your contents, your table of contents. So your dream home, your preferences, your neighborhood, buying 101, at your service, my promise, glossary. I mean, folks, this is simple and easy for you to follow. I'd say if, you know what I would love to see, guys, what would really, I know DiMartino, I know Trelongo would be encouraged as your coaches, is that if by next week, Monday, right? And you tell me, guys, Monday, and even Eddie would love to see this. By Monday, you have your buyer presentation posted on the Waxman Group as a PDF file, right? The Waxman Group corner, so that we can see what you've created. I mean, how cool would that be for us to see how creative you are with your buyer presentation and creating this? Who wants to do that? What do you guys think?
Buyer presentation.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I think, folks, I mean, if you don't put it into practice, you're never going to learn it. Would you agree?
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
I'll jump in. I'll work on
Right?
it this weekend.
Yeah, let's work on it this weekend. Let's take a little bit of time, get familiar with what the buyer package looks like. And there's also a listing package as well, too. So we got to put it into practice. It's like riding a bike. You're not going to learn how to ride a bike by just watching people ride bikes, guys. You got to get on the bike. You got to start riding it. You got to fall down a couple of times and have some questions. So now, you know, it has a table of contents. It's very beautifully designed. Your home wish list. I mean, look at this, right? You have where to begin. What are the non-negotiables for your home? So if you read with the person and you're following along with them, right? This is your presentation for them. Let me see here. I think I missed this page. Their dream home, right? So you're showing them this page here. And if you want to change this picture out and put a picture of you and your family, hey, by all means, do it, right? Build your preference profile. And when I say put a picture of your family, and here's why I say this, because sometimes I think people, even though folks may not share things with us in terms of their inhibitions mentally, it's always cool to have a photo in there of a representation of who you represent, right? And what you represent as well too. I mean, I see this in New York a lot, right? So it's always good that, and it happens everywhere, but you want to put in there something that represents you, your family, so that folks can see a bit of you, okay? And it makes people feel comfortable. So that's another part of the presentation. Building your preferences, how may I contact you? What's the timeline you strive for? Have you looked into getting a pre-approval for your home? Okay, you guys seeing what we're seeing? You're noticing how this works? Look at this, your home wish list, right? And if you look in your guide on page 8 in the participant guide, there's questions in there that you can go through. See if I can pull up those questions real quick. You can go through those questions in the participant guide, and in asking those questions, let me see here, page 8. Let's see how I can get out of this. So this makes it easy. Let's look at the thumbnails. So again, on page 8, you also have the questions here in your participant guide, right? So it's not only is it in the presentation, so if you want, you can give them the presentation that's printed when we start seeing people face to face, and then you could just have a copy of this with you at the same time and just read the questions, and they're answering it as well too. And if anything, I would have them possibly even write it down. It's up to you, however you want to do this, so that this way it's cementing in their mind what it is that they want. So let's get back to the PowerPoint here. Okay, so now we'll keep going. Neighborhood insights. So now this is where you get to brag a little bit. That's right. Oh man, I'm getting an echo again. Ricola. No.
Multiverse.
The multiverse, okay. So now you get to brag on neighborhood insights. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. Somebody's echoing. I don't know who it is. You guys can mute yourself. If somebody has 2 lines open or something. Okay, good. So now there we go. So when you look at neighborhood insights, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, the beauty of it is when you're working with me as an agent and with Keller Williams, our tools show you on a neighborhood micro level, right? So it's very focused. We get down to the neighborhood. Has there ever been a time where you go to a neighborhood and I love sharing this example in New York, and I'm sure you have it down here too. Like Eddie, you can probably relate to this. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's look at Hillside Avenue, dude. Right? You go north of Hillside Avenue. What do you have in Jamaica?
Better neighborhood, better schools.
Yeah, you got Jamaica Estates.
Yeah.
And then south of Hillside Avenue, you got Jamaica Queens, which is, it's cool, but it's not the same thing. But just that one road, separates everything. Yep. And if you plug in a zip code, oftentimes the zip code gives you the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yep. It gives you everything. Yep. So how cool is it, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, where if you use my tools and working with me, we get to look at exact neighborhoods specifically with the app, right? So here you go, neighborhood insight, Hyde Park. So you get to demonstrate that you're an expert. You get to explain the process. So we talked about this as well too, explaining the process, partnering with an agent. So we covered that before. Now, right here, it talks about arranging the business disclosures, right? And you start reading through these disclosures. Read this ahead of time, folks. Oftentimes, the biggest mistakes that we make is that we don't prepare. We just try to wing it, okay? And if you are not familiar with this and you have never done this before, this is where your time should be spent. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I listen and jump on Richard's contract class. You know, every time he teaches a listing contract class, I do everything I can to be on there. Why? Because I know that the first time around, there's something that I missed. And I know that contracts in Florida versus how we do business in New York and in other states, it's not the same. Every city, every town has their way of doing things. So the more you listen to this, the more it starts to cement in your head how to do this, and make sure that you don't make any mistakes and you set yourself up to win. So go through arrangements, disclosures. Let's pause for a minute. What questions or feedbacks do you guys have so far? Because I know we covered a lot. Where are you? Where's your head at? What are you guys seeing? What ahas are you having? Share with me. Other than Eddie. I mean, I love Eddie, right? Eddie's a man. He is. He's the man. But other than Eddie, I got to hear from everyone else in the room. You know, the Shirelles. I got to hear from Dina Toft. I got to hear from Hassan Donaldson, who just jumped on. You know, Virginia Duncan, Keisha. Great picture, Keisha, but I haven't heard your voice. Okay, people are dropping off because I'm calling out their name. All right, so I gotta hear some feedback. What you what ahas are you having so far?
I do like what you did say about read and prepare, because I'm definitely guilty about winging through things. But you know, this is different. This is you know, this is your livelihood, and you want to make sure that you sound smart. You sound like you know. You want to understand what you're telling them. You know, so this is definitely my big aha moment. Like, okay, you know what? That makes sense.
Yeah, I second
You
that.
have
I
heard my voice.
All right, so Alan and then Anna, unless we say ladies first. So Alan, that's up to you, man.
Definitely ladies first.
Okay,
Definitely.
ladies first. Go on, Senorita Anna.
What I really liked, what you said is, even look at you, Robert. You've been in real estate like forever, and you said that you like to participate in classes. It's like we can never get proud. We can never ever know enough, and we can always improve. I really, really like that. Even if we participated 5 times in contracts or in these buyer presentations, that there is always place for more to learn and to improve. I really, really like that. There's always place to improvement. Love it. Thank you.
Hey, Robert, it's
Oh, wait a second, Karina. Hold on, Karina.
Hey.
We're gonna hit
It's okay.
Alan.
I was just gonna second both of them. Go ahead.
All right, go ahead, Karina, and then we'll hit Marisol. Go ahead, Karina.
For my thing, it's just learning all the tools that Command offers, because I was not familiar with this. I was still kind of learning the other things, smart plans and all that, and I didn't realize this was in here. So it's definitely understanding my tools that you guys provide to us to be successful.
There you go. Awesome. Marisol, thank you for sharing, Karina.
I really think that when you are prepared, like you say, prepare yourself. I think a preparation gives us confidence, which is very important at the time of meeting with someone or talking with someone. So I know, like most of the time, like that you cannot be a professional student, but I think you need to study and get confidence to know what you're doing. So when you get in front of someone, you transmit to that person security and trust, and you can create that rapport that you need to create with a customer. So, you know, that's what I think.
No, awesome. I love it. You're absolutely 100% correct. And here's the beauty of it. When I was going through this presentation, right, did you guys feel comfortable? Did you feel confident? Would you feel like you would do business with me?
Yes.
You make it very easy. Like, I like the way how you present it. You make it sound so easy. I'm like, but why is it doesn't stick in my head?
All practice. I'm sure he's done this 100,000 times.
It's like he just kind of cradles you, and he goes, he's going to take you right through the whole process.
Hey, let me walk you through the process of buying your home. It's very easy. It's not crazy. I'm not going to use these big jargons word on you, and you're going to understand. And I'm like, I want to sound just like that.
It looks like your second nature. Incredible.
And this is the first time I've ever seen this in elementals or whatever. I mean, I have my own script, of course, but guys, this is beautiful. I wish I had what you have right now 10, 15 years ago.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I really wish that, because all I did was just read. And the one thing that I will leave you with, and we'll move on to the next point, is every consultation that you do, working with buyers or sellers, it's not about this, folks. It's about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the heart, right? It's about how you make them feel. When you're lead generating, how are you making them feel? Do they feel like they can trust you? They don't know how much you know, right? I'm sure you've heard this before. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So they're looking to, how is it that this agent makes me feel? I always remember when I went to Jamaica years ago. This was in my first marriage. I don't have a second one, but this is in my first marriage, right? That was one of our honeymoon trips. And back then, when you go to Jamaica, anything that you would ask them, they will respond with, "No problem, man. Whatever you need. Man, I need some shampoo in the hotel room. No problem, man. What else you need? Man, I'm hungry. Where can I get myself something to eat? No problem, brother. Man, you know what? I left my toothbrush at home. No problem, man. We got something for you. How would you like this, man? You know, good, brother. Man, look at Bruce over there in the corner, man, with the nice little shiny head, brother. Can I get you a hat, brother?" Right? You know, you're like sitting there, you're communicating, and you just feel so comfortable and taken care of. You do that, regardless of all this jargon that we just taught you in terms of the bullet points. If you do that, then people will forgive you a lot more. People will understand with you a lot more. And that's not to say that you put the jargon to the side, but it means that, remember, that's what people are looking for, is how you make them feel. And then you go through this process and it cements it. It just ties it all together. So cool. Let's move on to the other part here. So now you're looking at your value proposition, okay? So this is the tricky part for some of us who may be newer agents. You're thinking over here, okay, here's your nice headshot. Okay, you don't have the credentials that maybe some other folks have, that they say, "I've been in the business for 100 years and I've done so many transactions." You may not have that in your portfolio. However, what you do have is something that we call life experience. Would you agree?
Yep.
I think by this point in time, all of us have at least worked 1 or 2 jobs in our lifetime, right? And I'm sure we've had some great accomplishments during those times. So this is where you get to put a portion of that in your life experience, and you also get to put the portion of your market center, and you get to put a portion of even the Waxman Group, or a portion of the region, whatever it is that reinforces that they should be working with you. Use this page as that opportunity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'd love to hear from anyone else that, you know, what have you used in here when you first started? Like maybe, you know, John or Michael, you know, anybody else. When you guys first started, what did you end up putting in here?
Yeah, when I first started, I was very hesitant about adding this page. When I first got my first listing presentation, my first couple buyers consultations, I was very hesitant about adding this page because I didn't have any numbers. Right? I didn't want to say, yeah, 1 year in experience, 1 total client served. You know, I didn't want to say that. And I told the person that I was coaching with at the time about that, and he said, then use the market center's numbers. All right. And so when the lore numbers came out, that's exactly what I would put in here. You know, maybe not how many years in business, but I was putting, you know, we are selling 130 homes a month. We're taking 80 to 90 new seller listings a month. Right? And I was putting those numbers in until I started getting my own numbers. All right. And then when I did start having numbers, my first year I did I think it was my very first year, I did 8 transactions, right? Well, I didn't want to say I only helped 8 people this year. So what I ended up doing was changing the words, because words matter. And I said, I helped 16 families achieve their goal, right? Because when I represent a buyer, I'm also helping a seller help get his goal, right? So I was saying I was able to help 16 families achieve their goal of getting into real estate. And then the following year I was able to help 50 families achieve their goals of buying or selling a home. And I kept doing that until I actually had some numbers that I can rely on my own numbers. And yeah, that's what I did. You know, if I relied on the team, right? In the very beginning, I relied on the team, that team being your market center.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, John.
Yeah, so I did something that was very similar. I added the market center's numbers. In this point, I added my own personal value proposition. Like, I'm going to, you know, and it's explaining it and putting it in words, and in so many words. Yeah, I'm going to go to bed at night thinking about a way to sell your property. I'm going to wake up in the morning thinking about ways to sell your property, right? And so, it's more of a feel thing than details, because information makes people think. Emotion makes people act. So I tapped into that emotion, and I used the office's numbers.
Awesome. I love it. Thanks for sharing that.
I have a question,
go ahead. Go ahead, Marisol.
In this page, I know when it says, when you choose to work with me, like, I think that's personal, but all the other things, can we use them for marketing? Like the win-win thing, the integrity, customers, all the little box down. Can we use it just like that?
Of course.
Okay.
This is all already pre-made. The reality is that you can go ahead and just replace your photograph, replace your logo, you know, to reflect your market center or your team, you know, and you see right below it, it has, you know, BA in history for this person, board member, founder. It stirs up your you know, your thought process. When you choose to work with me, you're partnering with a trained agent, over 180,000. So
that would be
a lot of this is already in there for you. But I just want to give you some ideas, because
yes,
you know, the more personal you make it,
exactly.
this is your brag sheet,
exactly.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Use it as your brag opportunity.
So my 2 cents, before you even come to this page, if you master it like Rob mastered, if you saying exactly how Rob did this presentation till this point, it does not say here on your forehead, new. It's only in your head. If you are saying it like Rob did, mastering it, who's gonna think to ask you if you're new or not?
It's an excellent point, Eddie. From the first day, my first listing, until today, not one person has ever asked me how long I've been doing this.
Exactly.
Because they just assumed it was a really long time, because
Exactly.
of mastering your scripts.
Yep.
Yeah. I have the same experience for Anna and Carol and Aaron and Brizelda and all those agents that this is their very first time. And the first thing, all they're thinking about right now is, I'm too new. What are people going to say when I tell them that I just got my license in December, right? For you guys that's thinking that was one of my biggest fears, that someone was going to say, why should I hire you? You are brand new. I've been doing this for 5 years, and that question has never came up, not one time yet, because it's all about your level of confidence when you go in there. All right. They say fake it till you make it. You can fake it till you make it. Go in there with confidence. Yeah. Puff your chest out a little bit. Toot your own horn on this page, you know, where you can. Brag about the successes that you have. People are going to see, you know, that this person likes me. They care about me. Sorry, my dog's barking. that you know what you're doing, but they're not going to be asking about how many years you've been doing this.
Yep.
The question never came up, not one time.
Not here. Never.
There you go, guys. The proof is in the pudding. You know, and this is awesome. This is what I love about our group, is that we have a mixture of great folks that are experienced and folks who are learning, and this is what I call accelerated learning.
I'm
So,
looking at everybody's forehead. I don't see new anywhere.
There you go. There you go. I know. Look at that. Look at all these experienced foreheads out there, man. I love it.
People like,
I love
like
it.
me and Bruce, we have extra large foreheads here, right? So.
There you go. Love it. Love it. So go ahead.
One more thing about that, and I agree with everything that everybody is saying. My personal opinion is that, and I agree, like experience or how long you've been doing it or how many business you have had in the real estate before really is not that important. What is more important, and it's been for me and keeps being for me, is like do whatever you need to do individually to feel confidence. Everybody get their confidence in a different way. So like, you know, it doesn't matter what is your personal strategy to be confident. Just get to that point. It doesn't matter how many years. Just when you are confident, it doesn't matter how many business. You sit in front of a person and you transmit that you know what you are doing, even if you haven't done it before. So that is, for me, that's my strategy. Like, I'm doing whatever I can to feel that I can sit in front of someone and talk and be confident that I know what I'm doing, even if I haven't done it before. So
show them your value.
And the road to that point is very personal. It's very different for each one. One of us have to find how to get there in our own way.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely. And the way that, listen to the confidence that Marisol says that, guys. Can you guys like feel, what do you guys feel when she says it and how she says it?
I feel like she already knows what she's saying, you know, like this is from experience, you know, and it does make a lot of sense. You gotta fake until you make it. You know, fear is a mind killer. So you have to overcome that rock. Like she said, everybody has their own personal rock. You gotta learn how to overcome it, you know. So my fear was that drunken monkey was, what if I don't know? What if I don't know, or how do I, like, what if the lingo doesn't come out? But after I made a few phone calls, I thank God that I didn't have to use a lot of lingo. I just stay with the facts, you know, and that helped me, you know, with my confidence a little bit more, you know, like, hey, you know, I understand with the COVID and the situation, but you know what? There's going to be a shift in the market, and we want to make sure that we get the best price for you for your home, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like going along. It was just like rolling out of me, you know? So that's where the confidence come in, you know, like it just started, you stop overthinking and start acting, you know?
Deep. Go ahead, Marisol.
I want to share with you something that it happened to me last year. Last year I don't have experience. I have my license for 3.5 years, but really I haven't worked, so I don't have experience. Last year I got my first listing, which was a listing for they wanted to list it for $580,000. So I have no experience, never listed a home before, like for a client. And we started working. I was lucky, started working, and then they started asking, since we were not having showings and things like that, they were, how long you been in the business, and how many houses have you sold, and how much experience, and they were questioning everything I was doing. So I told them, you know what, this is my first listing, but that's not my first job. I done some work before. I have a professional career before. I was successful, and I prepared to get to that point. And before I getting into real estate like I am now, I prepare myself to get in this point. So I'm ready to do this job as well as I've done all the other jobs before. So, and you know, like finally work and things like that, but you know, it's is that for me, that's important, and go back to the same point. You have to feel confident to be able to face any challenges that you are gonna find.
Awesome. I love it.
I love it too. I like what she said, that I was professional. I was successful in my past career, and I'm going to be successful in this career too, even
Bingo.
if you're my first one.
So just leave it at that, because that right there are power nuggets, right? Those are the things I say. These are power nuggets. You want to take them, you want to internalize them, focus on that. And a real simple response that you could say to anybody, whatever question that they ask, anytime somebody gives you their quote unquote concerns or quote unquote questions, right? So that means,
Rob, it's like you and me can say, if we made it in New York, we can make it anywhere.
There you go, baby. There you go. Woo.
That's right.
So,
that was a mic drop moment.
But when you think about it, when somebody says, hey, listen, how many homes have you sold in the area? Is your office located in the area? You know, have you ever worked in this price range? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done that? Okay, whatever it is they tell you, you say, you know what, it sounds to me like the three most important things are, number one, that you have an agent that's experienced in selling homes in this price range, correct? Number two, it sounds to me like you want to make sure that you're having your transaction handled by a professional like myself. Are we correct on that? And number three, you're asking about the neighborhood because you want to make sure that if somebody has a question about our neighborhood here, that that person will be able to answer the question. Am I correct on what I'm saying? Right? Yep. So I'm restating what they're saying. And then now the final statement after that is, I'm so glad that we're going to be working together. And that's exactly what you're going to get. So let's do the right thing. Let's move forward. Put me to work, because I'm going to work my butt off to make sure your property gets sold. I'm going to work my butt off to make sure you get the home for you and your family that's going to meet the needs for your children in the best school district out there. How's that? Fair enough? Right? You add the fair enough, you add the tie down at the end. Does that make sense? Wouldn't you agree? Fair enough. I know Lance is shaking his head because Lance uses NLP when he is working with his clients and he's working with them. That's all I did. All I did was a level shift. I shifted the conversation from what it is that they want most. I affirmed it. Okay, great. So that's exactly what you're looking for. I'm so glad that we're talking. Can we get this ball rolling? You didn't really answer the question, but you shifted over. You didn't lie, right? Yep. You didn't lie. Go ahead, Lance.
I just want to jump in on that, on using the embedded commands, because when you taught me that, what was that? I think October of last year. Yeah. Folks, Robert teaches a class specifically on using embedded commands and NLP. It completely changed how all of my conversations went. And I had a record fourth quarter. I think, what did I close? 12 deals, or 4 just in December, right? I mean, record. It completely changed it. Listen, I want to just say thank you, jump in, appreciate it. I got to run because I've got virtual showings at noon. Everyone, God bless. Have a great weekend, and let's make 2020 awesome while everybody else is feeling negative.
Thank you, brother. Great share. So that's how you basically shift the conversation going forward. But we're going to keep this ball rolling because we're coming close to an end here. Okay, so now we've conducted the buyer consultation. So we went through that already, right? We went through all of this already as well too, which was in the book, right? It was on page, let me see if you remember correctly here. I don't have to. But we went through it. So if you go through the participant guide, you'll know how to do the buyer consultation. Okay. We went through the buyer representation agreement and what's the best way to do the buyer representation agreement. You guys feel more comfortable now about having somebody sign a buyer agency agreement? You can just put your hands up, shake your heads. Okay. Awesome. Sharing your app. One of the things that you'll notice is that when you're creating an opportunity in Command, it's going to tell you, hey, listen, this customer or this client is not on your app. So the app is something that the company has made it where it's not like an optional thing. You want to make sure they have your app. So all the buyers, all the listings that you're working with right now, make sure your app is in their hands, okay? And if you don't know how to get the app, a simple thing to do is either, I mean, I know for me, I'm more of a self-study kind of guy, so I don't mind jumping onto YouTube, looking up either Jay Cermak. I'm sure Justin has his videos. I'm sure, you know, Marty Miller has videos as well too. Keller Williams mobile app. And it'll show you how to get your app. It'll show you how to get the link for your app. And everybody here should have it on their phone because you need to log in as a user yourself in order for you to be able to share it with other people as well too, where it's branded under you. So share the app with them. The other thing too is, again, we went over the collections in terms of saved homes, aligning your guide. So when you look at this here, if there's something specific that you do in your business when it comes to your guide, meaning how you do business, how you work with buyers, how you work with sellers, this guide here is customizable. And this is the guide that shows up. Whoops, I'm sorry. Let me see. How do I go back here? I feel like I almost went to like a whole nother place. Okay, this guide here is customizable and it shows up on the app itself. So as you go through opportunities and you move a transaction through a different opportunity in Command, it actually reflects on the app for them. So this way, if you don't speak to them in 2 or 3 or 4 days and something's changed in the transaction, they get to see this in real time. So this is why it's important for you to have the app and have it all aligned with what you're doing in your business. The next thing is any ahas. We'll jump into ahas after this. So here's some great questions. How has your thinking changed? What ideas, what mindsets, what do you feel you'll do differently because of everything that you learned today? We can close it out with that because we're pretty much at the end of this module. John, if you have any public service announcements as well too that you want to make, or Eddie or Rolando.
Yeah, actually I have two things. I'm back here. I don't know where. I think it's right there. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, actually I have two things. The first thing is thank you, Rob, for coming and teaching this class. This is an awesome class. And I think we as realtors a lot of times forget to do a buyer's consultation because we just want to go straight to meeting them at a property and start sending them things. And doing a buyer's consultation, a thorough buyer's consultation, is going to save you so much time in the long run. You're showing your value from the very, very beginning by setting the expectations of what they can expect from the very, very beginning. I always do a buyer's consultation. And, right now with the, with the smart plans and everything, the buyer's guides and everything through our app, it's going to make it so much easier for us to do that. So thank you for that. I love the challenge of this weekend going online and creating the buyer's consultation packet and posting it in the Waxman Group Corner Facebook page. I love that. And I did take some notes of those who raised their hands. So if I don't see it on Monday, I'm going to call you out. Yeah, I see you. I saw people raise their hands, so we're going to do it. All right.
Yeah. He wrote down.
I'm already working on mine.
It's accountability, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
I do want to join that other challenge that you did too, that you posted, but I'm like, I would love to have a sit down and learn how to do a CMA, like CMA 101, so.
Me too over here. I'm with you, Griselda.
Thank you.
And my last PSA, because I am going to have to jump off in about a minute and a half. My last PSA is we have one of our very own, Jen Weisberg, is doing her very first virtual open house. So she's doing that at 11 o'clock. If we can all just jump in and support her. And, I'm just posted the link to register for the open house in the chat box. But if we can all go in and support her and cheer her on, she's it's her first time doing this, and she's a bit nervous, but I know she got this, and it's going to be good for everyone else to see what a virtual open house looks like, so that you can do that on your listings as well.
Yeah,
Love it.
absolutely. Show up there, guys, for her. In addition, for those of you who are newer agents, there is a 1 o'clock new agent orientation with Justin. There is also a 2:30 home insurance that we have with Greg Blanchard from Allstate. On Connect Live, we also have 1 o'clock pivot. It's a playback from this morning. And 4 o'clock, there is a market of the moment pivot playbook there on Connect Live. And lastly, at 5:30, pivot your perception. Remember your big why on KW Connect. So there's a lot of training today that you can jump in and grab, take advantage of.
So the new agent orientation is at what time? Sorry?
1 o'clock with Justin. It's in your email. If you look at all the tabs, it's in your email from the Waxman Group.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, folks. So let's all say goodbye. Have an incredible weekend. Thank you guys for all your participation. I love you. Be safe. Happy Friday. Eat, drink, and be merry.
Thank you very much.
Let's have a great time.
All right, guys. Take care.
Great class, Rob.
Thank you, everybody.
Awesome class.
Got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.